Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at my cards collection. Now, I'm not a collector, so I actually get these cards and use them specifically in various different areas in my life. I'm strongly into self-development and working with my intuition, so these have a part in my life, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, I won't be showing everything, so this is like a part one, and then I'll follow through from that. Hope you enjoy. First sets of cards are the cards that I primarily use on a daily basis, that deeply connects me to my intuition and the universe, I feel. So I would call these like my power cards that I turn to regularly. First one here that you could see, you've got the Secret Language of Light. Absolutely fantastic card, and it's all got to do with working with the power of the light. And then you've got the Sacred Power and the Sacred Spirit cards by Anna Stock. Again, I use these two in conjunction together. It's like a part one and a part two of the card series, so I really love these two cards. And lastly, you've got the Mystical Shaman Oracle card, which again I use in connecting me with the spirits, nature, and all of those sort of things. So let's have a closer look at each. The first sets of cards are like my top favorite. I'm clairvoyant, so they deeply connect with me, I feel. I mean, the design at the back of the cards I'm deeply linked with. I've edged each particular card to empower the cards even more in line with my energy. But the Sacred Power, I mean, just look at these imagery. It's, for me, just looking at the image connects me deeply with my intuition, connects me deeply with spirit. You've got power, energy, and then the other one, the Sacred Spirit, has this theme of extraterrestrial towards it. And again, the design at the back of the card with the power of light and various different energies residing within them is very, very powerful and really links me deep into my intuition and deeply within my subconscious and within the universe, I feel. And they're very easy to work with. The books are great, full colored pictures of the cards itself. You get affirmation, you get personal little quotes towards these, and the meaning of the cards are not really something that complicated to read into, and it expands further with the Sacred Spirit, which is why I use these two together in conjunction as one. Again, similar sort of like layout, color, but then it adds that little extra element where you've got the shadow aspect, certain crystal you could work with, different sort of like angels, assistance, and that little affirmation. Very powerful cards that I really feel I'm in line with and connect with in terms of who I am. So these are like my number one. Second favorite is the Secret Language of Light. And oh my God, I mean, look at the imagery. It speaks for itself. There isn't any card out there that I've seen that illustrates the power of the light more evident than these cards. It's literally blinding in some of these cards. You can't not notice how strong and powerful the energies of the light reside within these cards. And it's, you know, and it's what I love about them. There's so much happening within the imagery that sometimes you don't really have to refer to the book, and by just using your own intuition you can kind of like deeply resonate with a lot of these imagery, or you kind of get an idea as to what they're trying to indicate. I mean, these are very, very powerful card, and as usual I tend to edge my cards in a specific color that I feel links me even more or empowers the card even more in line with my own energy. The design at the back of the card is very beautiful. I mean, I love symbols, geometry, and you know, absolutely amazing. The book, I mean, it's disappointing that they're not in color, it's in black and white, but it gives you enough information to tune into the card itself and gain a greater understanding. And it also provides a meditation section for each of the cards and a reflection as well, and actions you can take. The next card, oh my goodness, the Mystical Shaman Oracle. Wow, wow, wow. The back of the card looks absolutely fantastic with various different elemental energies going on behind of it. I haven't edged these because I didn't feel they needed to be edged. They're just perfect the way as they are. I mean, you get strong, the imagery is absolutely fantastic, strong energies of various different colors that really pops out. And it's like there's so much going on within these cards. They're saying so much. It's like someone has captured the essence of all of these energies within these pictures that are illustrated. I mean, really, really connects you deep with your intuition and the general surrounding energies and spirits within nature and the universe. I love these cards so much. And in terms of the book, I mean, it's disappointing it's in black and white, but that still doesn't lose the power of that card. You could still see how striking it is. It's broken into three sections. You've got the essence of that card, the invitation of the card, and the medicine in general of how to work with that particular energy or the query and question you've asked. So it's, again, it really is great for working with the energies that you're surrounded with and your intuition as well. The cards are very striking and you can get a lot out of them. So again, one of my go-to everyday cards. Now I decided to add the Sacred Geometry Activation Oracle. Now these are the cards that I would go to, not every time, but if I feel as though I've got a block within my subconscious, these cards will be my go-to cards to unblock that or to activate various aspects of your subconscious. The imagery are very colorful and it's easy to read, and it highlights on the card itself without having to go into the book the frequency that these imagery are kind of like in line with. So they're nice and easy to work with. It's something that I don't use every time, but from time to time, again, when I feel I'm blocked consciously, I go to. Now these card collection here would be my weekly, my day-to-day go-to cards where I would give my, get a general overview of the day, the week, the months ahead, or any sort of like little obstacles in the way. So these are the main ones that primarily I will use. So we'll take a closer look at each of them. So we've got the Black Moon Astrology cards. I used to hate these cards when I first get them. They came all big, massive with these wide borders that I had to trim down completely and just tailor the card where it really then resonated and I connected with. But the imagery you could see here, it looks absolutely fantastic. Really beautiful imagery. And I used to sign up to these astrology website where I used to kind of get my daily astrology reading and weekly readings. So now I've got these cards, and that's primarily what I use them for, to give me that daily reading, weekly look ahead, and the energies that is surrounded within those coming hours, days, weeks. And it's a beautiful card. It's more usable now. I mean, you could see here where I've edged every single card specifically to the color that matches inside of the cards. And now look at them. It's nice to hold in the hands. They look very, very nice. I mean, the colors, everything matches together. I love using these cards, and they're one of my go-to everyday cards if I want to get an overview of the week. Very, very nice cards. Looks beautiful, and I've liked the way I've done it, where I've edged it in all the various different colors. It took a long time, but it was well worth it at the end of the day. Next, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. Wow. I mean, if you wanted a card that will give you in-depth or a look into every daily situation, these are the cards. I mean, the cards themselves, surprisingly, I didn't edge them or cut the corners because I think they are perfect the way they are. The imagery are simple, very nice to look at. And even working with these cards, I mean, wow, they can't get easier. You can't get it any easier. And I really, these are the cards that I would highly recommend for any new beginners. Fantastic cards to work with. The back of the card looks nice. They're nice size. I didn't edge anything at all. I just left it the way it was because I think it's just perfect. But these are the sort of cards I would go to that would give you so much information in various different areas. And I'll show you in the book how it looks. So this is the book. Okay, yes, the image are not in colored, which is a shame. But you get the number, you get a small image of the card, you get an essential meaning of that card, you get an oracle message, which is quite a bit, and then it goes further. It gives you a relationship message, a prosperity message, and then underneath final part you get a protection message as well. So for every single card, you get that amount of message. So you get a lot more than just one message throughout. You can literally use this card to kind of like look at every particular area. So this is why I really love working with them. Next, we have the Light Seers Tarot. Wow, I mean, this is my number one tarot card at the end of the day. This is the tarot card that I will always use, that I go to. The image is very unique. vast amount of diversity within the image, very colorful, graphics are fantastic. I mean, without going into the book, you could using your intuition, you can gain so much information. You could feel the vibrancy and energy, what the card is trying to tell you by just looking at the illustration, which all looks fantastic. Very diverse, very different, very unique. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people out there within the tarot community loves this card. And it's like my number one tarot deck of all. I really love the energies of these cards. I like working with them. They're very easy to work with. The back of the card looks fantastic to me. Now, as usual, I've edged it all green, so I wanted to kind of like match the theme overall, and it empowers it even more for me, and it really links me with the card. So this is what the book looks like. It's unfortunate, again, it's not in color. You get two sections. You get the light say section, general meaning, and then you get the shadow say, I guess if you read it as a reversal. And then at the end, you get this kind of like affirmation of that particular card. It's not really complicated, very easy and nice to work with. The cards themselves just give you a lot of information by just looking and reading into them using your intuition. But yeah, these are like my number one go-to, highly recommended, and I love them. The next card is the Good Tarot. Now, this one is very controversial within the tarot community because it's not really a tarot card, and I agree. It's more of an oracle, I feel. But again, for me, what's negative is how humongous these cards are. They're absolutely huge. I've edged it green, but for me, the real negative of this card is just how big they are. They're not easy to shuffle. You have to shuffle them in a certain way. They're just massive in the hand. So that for me is my only negative. And again, like I said, there's a lot of controversy with these cards because they're not tarot cards, and I agree, but I also love using them because I know what the author is trying to do, and I like that. It's like, imagine these cards as if you always use tarot and then you get the Tower card, or these negative cards that doesn't make you feel great and builds up fear. These cards pretty much shows you the positive of these particular card. If I'm feeling like crap, the last thing I want to do is pull a tarot card that's going to make me feel crap. So these will like give me the positive of those aspects of the card. So you won't get a lot of information, but at least you get the positive sides of each particular card. So they're all right for that occasion, but I wouldn't solely use them as tarot cards. You could see here in itself, the image look absolutely beautiful. The design is absolutely great. So overall, the nice card. I mean, here's an example of what you're getting in the book. Both, you got two different cards here. You got the Lovers and you got the Chariot. And you could see here, it's not really tarot card ish. It's more oracle, what you're getting the information. So it's kind of like, yeah, oracle affirmation that's, going to make you see the positive side of things. So it's very difficult to work with. But if you wanted that one card of the day to use that provides you positive messages, then I would recommend these cards, but definitely not tarot cards. But it's nice to view it from a different perspective. Again, you could see here, different card. It's quite fairly basic, very oracle-like. So yeah, but for me, I know what the author is trying to do. I like it, and it's from a different perspective. It's a different idea. Overall, I think they're great cards for what it's intended to do. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Next would be the cards that I use for love reading in general. So there's three that I primarily go to. You've got the Romance Angel Oracle card, the mini version of it. I think they're very nice cards. I like the mini version compared to the larger one. They're very easy to read. The imagery is very nice. You get some nice, simple, direct affirmation just to give you like the general energies as to where you're heading within your relationship, what's upcoming, a general overview. So they're very nice, easy cards to work with, which is why I like them. And I love the mini version of those. And then you've got the Cameron Tarot as well, which is quite, that one really dives into your fears, fantasies. So I tend to use these cards as well. And then the other one is the Sexual Tarot, general feeling of sexual energies. Very, very nice cards. And again, these would be like the primary cards that I tend to use and go to when it comes to anything to do with love, reading, sex, sexual energies. Those are my go-to cards. Really like them a lot. Now, these are the cards that I use for shadow work. So this is when I'm feeling down, I'm going through a very difficult time, feeling like crap. I use these cards in conjunction together. I don't really feel as though it works for me if I just use one of them, because one provides a limited amount of information. One I use to dive deeper in, and the other one I use to find my way out of the situation. So I use these cards together as a group. So the first card that we have here is the Magic of You Oracle card, which is very striking card. They pretty much get down to the bottom as to what's going on with you. The imagery is fantastic. A lot of them are very dark. A lot of them are quite disturbing, but it really dives you deep down to kind of figure out what's going on with you. Inside of the book, I mean, it's quite limited. It pretty much explains the card that you've pulled up, and then it gives you a little ritual, but that's pretty much all that you've got to work with, and you have to use your intuition. This is where the Tarot de la Nuit pretty much, to me, further expands on that card. I mean, the imagery in itself is very dark, very deep down, and I love working with these cards because, again, it expands. It doesn't have a lot to work with, but it's those sort of cards where you work in within the darkness that brings you into the light. I mean, look at the Three of Swords. That is some deep Three of Swords cards if I've ever seen any. But they're very nice to work with. It's a balanced card of darkness, working within the dark, leading into the light. And I love working with these cards. Again, expanding from the first card. And in the book, like I've said, this is you could see here 3 cards, and it gives you the general idea of what that card means, and it gives you certain keywords to work with. So this is where the Isis Oracle, I really love it. It kind of like fulfills all of those 2 cards, really further expanding it. This is the card that I will use where it gives you the action steps and kind of like the solution, and it kind of gives you that direction as to how to get out of the state that you're currently in. And these cards look beautiful with the Egyptian imagery and everything. And again, you get so much information with this card. You get in-depth information about its card itself. You're provided with a ritual, and then at the same time, at the end of each card, you have this sort of like incantation as well, sort of like a little prayer, meditation and stuff that you could do. So I really love these cards. Now I'm going to end this video because unfortunately there's so much I can't cover. I've got cards for literally everything. Chakra cards, fairy, nature, moon phases. There's just so much. So I'm going to do that in part 2 and further expand on my favorite cards. But hopefully you've enjoyed what I've shown you so far, and just look out for part 2. So thank you. Take care.